evening, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your somewhat daily chat. It's the post game from the Patriots and Packers preseason contest, which ended early due to a very frightening scene in the fourth quarter with roughly 10 minutes remaining. Isaiah Bolden, a rookie defensive back for the Patriots, in on a tackle of Malik Heath, went down to the ground and lay there motionless for several minutes. Obviously, deep concern from both sides, Patriots and Packers. Malik Heath was very concerned. That's a guy he actually is trained with this offseason, knows him well. And then after Bolden was taken to the locker room, Bill Belichick and Matt LaFleur had some discussions, talked with their teams, and the decision was made to end the game early and suspend play, effectively putting it in the books. Obviously, it's a preseason game. It doesn't make any sense to continue in that situation. Obviously, the right call, the best call that could possibly be made. Matt LaFleur afterwards was, I'm not going to say shook, but it was clear that he was very affected, as he obviously would be, by the proceedings, everything that transpired there in the fourth quarter. Bolden has all feelings and extremities is the word from the Patriots. They have not specified any type of what the injury actually was, what he is actually dealing with. We don't know. There's been no reporting about it other than to say he's been taken to a local hospital. And like I said, has all feelings in his extremities, which is obviously wonderful, fantastic news. It's a sobering moment, a reminder of how violent this game can be. As Matt said in his post-game presser, everyone steps on a football field, knows the risks, and knows why it's so important to go a million miles an hour each and every play. You don't ever want to go into a situation thinking about being injured. A lot of times that's when it happens. But yes, a striking kind of surreal experience. I have to say it was very odd being at the game tonight. I was in the press box and haven't been up there in quite a while. And to see the game come kind of a screeching halt in that regard. Been in that situation before where we've had long pauses and the cart comes out and then play continues. It's the first time I've seen a game just suspended at Lambeau. Obviously, last year with the Damar Hamlin situation, fresh in everybody's mind, undoubtedly that was part of the conversation and makes all the sense in the world. And LaFleur did indicate that Roger Goodell was involved in those conversations as well. Everybody just obviously hoping for the best for the young man who was injured. I will talk, obviously, football here tonight, and we'll go over everything that we saw prior to the suspension of play. But it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder of Carpe Diem laid out there before each and every one of us. It was interesting. I was walking back from the press box down to where the media auditorium is. Was walking along with Bill Huber, and we both noted how incredibly eerily quiet it was as the concourse kind of let out. And the Packer fans were, even win, lose, what have you, that's almost always a bustling, lively kind of feel to everyone leaving Lambeau Field. And tonight it was very, very quiet. And obviously, which I'm not surprised by really, but it was very notable. I think everybody's got, it shakes you to kind of a realization about how precious it all is. And I don't want to ever lose sight of that. But like I said, we will talk ball. We will talk about everything that transpired, including another, I would say, promising outing from Jordan Love. Clearly, things started a little rough with the botched snap and the fumble and the giving up of the ball there, on a short field. Defense looked like they had held them, but then they had the Valentine interference call to give the Patriots renewed life on the 1-yard line, and they punched it in. But after that, I thought the Packers did a nice job on offense of kind of regrouping and getting, some real positive things out of their next two drives. Jordan Love ending with that phenomenal throw to Jaden Reed for the touchdown. I asked him about it afterwards, and he said the route was phenomenal. He had one inside right out at the gate. He had to wait for him to clear the linebacker, so it was a second window throw, but You talk about a phenomenal job of just putting it right where it needed to be against some really good coverage. I mean, the corner's right there. And Jordan leads him perfectly, so he doesn't have to break stride. And then, of course, he makes a great play, kind of bouncing off a guy into the end zone. Rookie's exciting, no question about it. And this is after the just phenomenal play that Romeo Doubs made up the right sideline on that go ball. That was exciting, and the fact that it looked like Dobbs was pretty confident that he had gotten his feet in before going out of bounds. Good job by Matt and company as far as the replay operation and knowing to throw that challenge flag and winning the challenge, obviously. Just another phenomenal play. And I will say something that I did note when watching the replay of the touchdown. It's great. Now we have back-to-back weeks of Zach Tom locking someone down at right tackle while Jordan Love has all day in the pocket to throw a touchdown pass. I could get used to that. That'd be great if that became a regular feature of Packers Sundays, because we've seen it now 2 weeks in a row. On the defensive side, man, you talk about a couple of guys had real nice nights. Obviously, Kingsley and Igbare, I think, is the star of the game pretty much. Just a great night for him. And you saw Brenton Cox flash a number of times. But, man, Carl Brooks was everywhere tonight. I mean, they were using him up and down the defensive front, and he kept wrecking plays. I mean, Wooden made had a few nice penetrations as well. But, man, Carl Brooks just owned the Patriots tonight. I mean, you talk about a really promising performance. And I know the Patriots' offensive line is somewhat talent deficient, to put it kindly. But, yeah, just a really nice night. Now, on the flip side, I thought very not a tough night, but, a sobering evening for Carrington Valentine. 2 third-down penalties to keep and extend Patriots' drives tonight. One, like I said, there in the end zone to give them first and goal on the 1. Those is the rookie kind of growing pains, the things you got to fight through and, bounce back from, which I think he did for the most part. And the other tough night was Shamar Jean-Charles. I thought, man, you talk about a guy who's hanging by a thread, I would say, as far as this roster goes. If he can at least maybe shore up a couple spots on, like, as number one on some special teams units, maybe he's got a shot to stick around. But just a tough performance for John Charles tonight. And those are all my initial kind of thoughts, reactions, what have you. I'll get to your questions in a moment. I do want to say I really appreciate everyone who I saw throughout both kind of pregame as I was walking to the press box, and then Corey and I were on the sidelines prior to the game, and a number of people shouted out, got selfies, what have you, while we were there watching warm-ups, and I really appreciate each and every one of you who say hello. Met a couple people who work at Lambeau tonight who say they watch the show all the time, so that really means a lot. The fact that people who are with the organization in any capacity utilize Cheesehead TV is kind of mind-blowing to me and amazing, so thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's see what people are talking about here in the comments. What's going on, everybody? RJS, 31, get any snaps on teams? I'd have to go back and look at it. That's one of the, I'm sorry to sound like coach, but I'll have to look at the tape. I can't say that I was actively looking for it. Mario, thanks for the super chat. Jordan Love is our guy. Week 1 can't come soon enough. Bears fans in for a rude awakening. What's interesting is Matt not only kept the door open, but seemed to indicate that Jordan will play again next week against Seattle, which, as we all know, is not the norm here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But I think it makes a world of sense. Get him as many kind of practice game reps as possible prior to that Week 1 matchup. But, yes, Jordan Love, he's the man. Doug Hype, what's up, man? Shout out from Cheesehead TV, Secret Zoom, a.k.a. the Soder and Doug Hype Show, our honker of the game, and Igbare. No doubt about it. Yeah, I hope the Carry the G Club members and Patreon members hope you enjoyed the hangout tonight on the Zoom. I'll probably do that again next week for the final preseason game as well. So I'm glad you guys were able to utilize it. Soder, what's up? Both QBs look good hitting tight windows. Agreed. Man, I'll tell you what. Sean Clifford does not give up. Man, he is going to throw into a window. I mean, there are like 3 dudes around Malik Heath at one point. He just throws it up and lets his guy go make a play in the middle of the field. Yeah, I don't have to tell you how few and far between those throws have been in Green Bay, Wisconsin for the last number of years. Uh, but man, Heath went up, made a play for him. Oh, and another guy I thought who had a really good night was Grant DuBose. I thought he played his ass off, and you saw him again with a couple nice catches. Something we've really seen kind of start to become a regularity the last couple joint practices as well. But yes, both QBs they don't seem to be phased by having to stick it in there, so to speak. Fading West, thanks for the super chat. I know this is preseason, but do you think the Hamlin situation set a precedent for how the league will handle things like this? Somewhat, yes. Like I said at kind of the opening, I don't doubt for a moment that that's on everybody's mind as they're discussing and making the decision, right? I do think, though, that if this been a regular season game, they most likely continue. But because it was a preseason game, they decided to shut it down. But I do find it interesting, to your point, it didn't used to be this way. Like I said, I've been in Lambeau before where there have been very serious injuries that require, you know, completely immobilizing a guy to get him on the cart and get him back to the locker room, and then play continues, right? I do think in the wake of the Hamlin incident and situation, I think you'll see this become a bit more prevalent. Yeah, I don't doubt for a moment. Now it obviously it has to be agreed upon by both teams, and the commissioner has to sign off on it. So those are three kind of voices that have to be heard in each and every situation. But I don't think there's any way it can't inform how they deal with it going forward. Vex, thanks for the super chat, man. I heard someone say Malik Heath is wide receiver 4, but what do you think the depth chart is for wide receiver squad 1 through 4, 5? You guys know. I think that's pretty much folly because it's not Madden. You don't put a guy at 1 and then he runs all these 1 routes. It's very interchangeable, and how guys are utilized and how they produce from week to week is going to be dependent on what they're trying to do from the offensive game plan, how they think they can take advantage of certain players on the defense or their defensive tendencies or what scheme they run. And then, look, it's funny because I talk about this almost every summer with a few people in personnel with the Packers. It inevitably shakes out on its own due to injuries. You don't look much further tonight than Wicks, going down with an injury, going out. Eventually, someone's going to get nicked, and you're going to have to kind of keep moving forward. And sometimes that kind of helps shake things out all on its own, right? And it's really unfortunate because Wicks was really starting to kind of cook in camp, but who knows now how long he might be out. And now, obviously, we have no reporting on the severity of any of the injuries. So, yeah, I think I did say, though, I said on Twitter, there is going to be a real discussion about keeping Malik Heath. He's got to at least contribute somewhere on special teams, but he's making it real hard not to include him. That is for sure, because he is just balling out every time he touches the football field. Peter, thanks for the super chat. Was Jordan Love's TD drive against mostly the twos? Not from what the Patriots beat guys were saying. It sounds like it was a mix. It's a decent mix. There were some ones out there, but there were definitely some backups out there as well. But it certainly wasn't the second string, if that's what you're asking. Vex, thanks for the super chat. Can we please stop starting Josh Myers? All right. I don't think Josh had a terrible night, actually. And if you hear the explanation of what happened, it makes sense because they are trained, and this is something he did all the time with Aaron Rodgers. They thought, and several guys along the offensive front thought that the defensive end had jumped into the neutral zone. And when that happens, how many times have we seen not only Josh Myers, but it goes back to Corey Linsley, snap the football to try and get, the penalty essentially and get a free play. The official felt that he didn't get in it. He got back apparently, and so there was no penalty, and Jordan wasn't ready, and the ball just sailed past him. Now it's obviously that's what Josh has been told to do. So it's hard for me to kill Josh Myers for it when that's literally the head coach literally just said that's how we train them. He's doing what he's told. So hard for me to kill Josh on that one. Doug, thanks again, buddy. Since I was not at the game to buy you a beer, here's more beer money. The O-line, Tom Bombadil, bows to no one. Very correct, Doug. Thanks for the beer, man. Really appreciate it. Joe, thanks for the super chat. I was okay with the Tom penalty after they go after your QB. Shades of TJ Lang. Heath is a beast. Brooks looking like day 3 steal. That is all. Yeah, I asked Jordan about kind of the post-hit brouhaha. Tom ended up getting a penalty because of it. He said some words were exchanged. But yes, I absolutely loved Zach Tom sticking up for his quarterback. You love to see that. That mentality of you do not fuck with my guy. Dog. Love it. Soder, thanks for the super chat. The awesomeness of Cheesehead TV can't be denied. I think there's some people out there that would disagree with that sentiment, Soder, but I appreciate you, man. Thank you. John, thanks for the super chat. Carlson's season is well underway. Promising showing. Yes, it was a promising showing. How about that? How about that? You know? Pretty decent stuff there at the end of the first half, hitting that 52-yarder. That's not an easy kick, and he nailed it. Good stuff, man. Badger Trio, what's up, man? Unsportsman Reed TD, why was at game? Seen nothing. Unsportsman Reed TD. Oh, after the touchdown, there was the unsportsman call. Was it on? I think it was on Zach Tom, if I remember right. But I didn't see a replay. I'm assuming he said something. And there are certain things you cannot say now, and if they hear you say them on the football field, you will get flagged. It's kind of crazy, but it's true. But yeah, we're not privy to what was said. Porkmaster, thanks for the super chat. Hope you and everyone at Cheesehead TV have a good night. Oh, thank you so much. That's very, very nice of you, man. Hope you're doing well, Porkmaster. Always good to have you here. Brandy's here. What's up, Brandy? How you doing? Malik Heath, a little shook up. Matt, I think it's completely understandable. Like I said at the top of the stream, he's trained with Bolden all offseason and knows him pretty well. And you see someone that you've worked with and you know and you respect, and then you see that happen and you know you were part of the play where it happened. I can only imagine how tough that must be, no doubt. Quicker than fast podcast. What's up? Carlson will have some great games this year and have a couple laid eggs, but he has a leg for sure. Very true. Sanjay, you're very perceptive here. Just with this is all it says. This is all the comment says. Rasheed Walker. How about Rasheed Walker getting the call with the ones to go out there and play left tackle with David Bakhtiari not suiting up and holding it down? Kid looked good against a really good defensive front. You're talking about coming along and like stating your case. Who this offseason was talking about Rasheed Walker being in the mix? Not too many. I certainly wasn't. But I thought he held up pretty damn well tonight. Alex, thanks for the super chat, man. So when are we going to start the movement to have them play All You Need Is Love in Lambeau after a big play on offense? I'll talk to the stadium ops people. But I will say, I'm glad you brought that up, Alex, only to point out that tonight, this is true. The crowd started to do the wave while the Packers were on offense, and the Packers had a video ready of Jordan Love. It comes up on the Jumbotron and says, the wave? He says, Jordan Love says to the crowd, the wave while we're on offense? Save it for when we're on defense. That really happened. I mean, fair play to stadium ops for knowing their audience. I love it. I love it. Kevin, thanks for the super chat, man. Have you ever been to the Packers German bar Prost in Chicago? Might go there for week 1 or stay on my couch and yell by myself. I have not been to Prost. I've heard of it. Can't say I've ever been, though. If you go, please give me a review. Joneser, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Goody killed the last 2 drafts. Haters mad. I mean, they're promising, but nobody's arrived yet, man. There's still a lot of ball game left. But the promise is real. And if these guys develop, like obviously we hope they do, yeah, then Goody can maybe sit back, light a cigar, and say, how you like me now? But we got a long way to go. Bourbon and Base, what's up? Am I nuts, but is the Packers' defensive front the most athletic it has been in a year? In a year or years? Man, I tell you what, the addition of Brooks and Wooden, it's a serious injection of athleticism and explosiveness. I think Devontae Wyatt's had a really good camp, and you obviously have Kenny there, and TJ Slayton holding it down. Man, I'm liking it. Now, the caveat is always, I got to see it when it matters, right? when people are game planning for you and things like that. But it's getting exciting. I'm right there with you. Max Rebo, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Super random, but did you catch the Larrivee hot mic early in the fourth? I think he called the refs sloppy, and it was funny. Appreciate you, Nags. Oh, Max, thank you. No, I didn't. We don't get to. I can't hear the radio while we're in the press box. Tom Mulheron, actually, local legend. I grew up watching him on television. He is the press box announcer who basically gives us down and distance and like the tackle and who it was completed to or who ran the ball and stuff like that. He kind of does a play-by-play for the press box. So we don't get to hear Wayne and Larry, unfortunately. Clifford has an eagle eye. I think the kid just knows ball. And you throw in the fact that he is just a fucking gunslinger and unafraid. That's undoubtedly going to get him in trouble at some times in some moments. But, man, yes, he has an eagle eye. He sees and knows how coverages operate and where the windows are going to be. And I think he understands, like, he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, so he's got to rise and fire, right? He's got to be on time. So he's hitting stuff right when it's breaking open and right when guys will be ready for it. It's fun to watch, man. It's fun to watch. Soder again, what's up, man? No Watson targets. What say you? It's preseason. There were few Musgrave targets, too. But Musgrave did play every snap that Jordan Love did, once again. Thanks to the eagle eyes of justice for that one. Let's go through the targets, shall we? Malik Heath had 5 targets tonight. Dobbs had 2. DeBose had 4. Reed had 2. Wilson had 2 out of the backfield. Musgrave had 3. Watts, Crest had 1 each. Taylor had 3. DeGuara had 2. And Torrey had 1. I will say something I kind of leaned over to Andy Herman at one point. He was sitting next to me in the press box. And I said, I think it's interesting that Torrey got every single rep at both return spots. That feels like a guy who's maybe on the bubble. You know, the idea being they've started to kind of unearth these really athletic, dynamic players, really young guys that you're going to want to get out there and play. Torrey's not the most dynamic player. They like him. He knows the offense. But maybe, okay, if we can use him at returner, that at least can justify keeping him around. It felt like a long look to kind of like try to help make a decision as to whether to keep him or not. That's just obviously total guesswork on my part, but something I think that bears watching. You know, because if we're all talking about Malik Heath, and then you talk about everything that happened with DuBose being gone for so long and then now starting to come on and really showing that promise that they obviously liked. Yeah, it's exciting, man. But I do think it's going to make it hard for Torrey at some point. Andrew, thanks for the super chat. Extended look at Mr. Magoo next week? I doubt it, Andrew. The reps are too valuable, and Jordan needs to get his, and Clifford needs his, and I doubt it. But you never know. All right, everybody, I got to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out and talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. The Packers suspending play along with the New England Patriots after the very, very scary injury to Bolden. Obviously, all of our thoughts and prayers are with him and everyone, his family, what have you. Really hoping that we get a positive outcome, some positive news later tonight or sometime tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow with Packers Daily. Please hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.